Hello, fellow builders, and welcome back to the bench. Mediocre Modeler here, bringing you all things modeling and mediocre. If you couldn't tell from the intro, we're going to join our brothers of man far beyond the heavens to build the Solenite charge. We're taking a break from our Mandalorian build because when you inundate yourself with something so much, I'm surrounded by it. You get the helmet, and gauntlet, side of a gauntlet, range finder. I got stuff drying in the paint booth. And you just get to the point where it's almost overwhelming. And since I don't think we're going to have the con, the rush to finish is not quite there other than wanting to be finished. And I've got some stuff to do. But just to kind of give my mind a break and do something a little bit different, that's where the Galactica throttle stick came in there. And while I was on that kick, somewhere along the line, I started looking for different stuff. And one of the things that came to mind that I always liked, the Solenite charge is their version of C4, an explosive that can be placed on something and set with a timer. The Solenite charge appears in 4 separate episodes, but there are 3 different types that I can tell, maybe 4. The first episode is Gun on Ice Planet Zero. They have to go down and take this big gun out, and they put the charges on the cooling towers or something like that. You can clearly see as they're setting them, they put the charge on there and they hit a button on the side. A close-up will reveal on the top of it, you see like a timer knob and a light. So that's type 1. The next time we see the Solenite charge used is in the 2-part Living Legend episode where they meet up with the legendary Commander Kane and his Pegasus as they go down to Gamorre to steal fuel from those gall-monging Cylons. I think this is still type 1 for 2 reasons. One, they have to parachute down into the city. And as they parachute, you can see them with the charges strapped to their waist. And then when they set the charges, you can see them put it on there and then kind of hit the button on the side. At one point, Starbuck even uses one as a grenade and tosses it. So we're still episode 2, both episodes type 1. Next episode that you see, and by far has to be my favorite, is Fire in Space. In this episode, well, here's the trailer.
Father, I think they intend to ram. We're going for the bridge.
I thought we were too far inside to take a laser hit.
We are. That was something else.
Work that board tied in over there. Come on, keep it moving. Look out. It's ready to blow.
But they could still be alive. You can't just leave them there.
The Galactica is doomed.
Just don't get careless. You lose your grip just once and you'll be floating in space forever.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us, Sheba.
We'd have to operate because there's a fragment lodged into the wall of his heart.
But then operate.
There is no way that I'm going to open up his or anyone else's chest under these conditions.
The reason that it's so significant in this one to me is they have to use the charges to blow the hole to deprive the fire from oxygen. They go out on the hole without their tethers, mind you, to set the charges, but since they're magnetic, they use them to pull themselves across the hole. Well, eventually you're going to run out of charges and you're going to have to work your way back to the hatch, but you don't have a tether. And if you don't do it right, then this can happen. needless to say, they get the fire out, everything gets saved, blah, 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 blah. But I just always remember, that's when I think Solenite charge, that's my first memory. I'm going to call this the Type 2 Solenite charge because the position of the activation switch has moved from the side to the top. It even changed from like a black push button to the silver toggle. You can see one scene from the Living Legend episode right before the Exalted Leader, once he starts speaking, there's an explosion, and they show where they attach one to an ammunition dump, and the toggle switch is actually on the top. So I don't know if there were two separate teams making these, or if maybe for the storyboards they decided, oh, well, that doesn't make sense because whatever. There's not one type of grenade, so why wouldn't there be more than one type of Solenite charge? The fourth appearance of the Solenite charge in the final episode titled The Hand of God introduces the third type of Solenite charge that I can see, and it seems to be more cosmetic. In this episode, Starbuck and Apollo have to sneak onto a base star to disable the control center of the sensors or the targeting or some such thing before the Galactica gets there so they can blow it up and everyone leaves the galaxy. There's a lot more to it than that, but you don't care about that. The main difference in this Solenite charge, if you look, it's mainly cosmetic. It's got the switch on the top, but it seems like there's like a silver or white border on the corners. And I could make those using just regular old styrene. That wouldn't be a problem at all. Other than that, I think it's pretty much the same other than the cosmetics. Now that all that's out of the way, let's talk about the Solenite charge itself in practical aspects. What was it? I found the 3D file on Thingiverse, and here's a copy of the page showing all due respect to the designer of this. And the body of the Solenite charge is, if I remember correctly, it is an AR-15 20-round magazine. I was going to make one of these years ago, and pricing an AR-15 20-round magazine and then cutting it up, because you'd have to gut it to get the wiring and all that stuff inside, drill holes in it, and essentially ruining it. And this is where I always have a fight with myself as to, do I go in and try and make it screen accurate, or do I get as close as I can? 3D printing has changed the game where you don't have to ruin a 20-round magazine or original stuff, as long as you're happy with that. Some people have to have what they did on screen. So that was the body. Then you had these guys. After doing some research, the little orange light was to the best of my knowledge, was a Dialco panel indicator light. I think they were used in just like control panels or airplanes or any place that you needed an orange light, you could get these. I found a source for these, and I will put those in the notes. Toggle switch is just a regular single pole, single throw, small toggle switch. Now, the silver knob, at first I thought it was a stereo knob, and just doing some research, I'm coming to believe that it's more specifically a guitar control knob. That's what the closest thing I can find. Sure, why not? I mean, if it looks good, let's use it. It took probably 12 hours to print these out. I think I'm going to print another one. We're just going to start with the one. It printed vertically, and nope, I take that back. It did print vertically, but it printed this way. And it prints on the raft base. So when you peel it off, sometimes you get a rough edge. So to fix that, I grabbed my Bondo glazing putty, which is here somewhere. I really need to clean my bench. Covered that up, Now we're just going to get it sanded down so we're smooth. And also, we need to do something with this light. This is not the way they look. If you look at all the pictures before, this is clear plastic. The picture on the internet showed me a frosted bulb. So, and we're going to have to do a light test with this. Get an LED to put in there to see what we can do. So, let's get started with that. Let's do that first. Okay. This is what we've got going on. We've got the clear plastic cover. We've got a white light, which I really like. And we've got an orange light. Now, if you just put the light over the cover, if I was just using, I just don't feel like that's enough light. And if you look at one of the Solenite charges from the series, this isn't clear, it's frosted. So in order to get that, and when I was ordering these, the picture on the internet showed this as being frosted. So I'm gonna double check and make sure that I didn't just order the wrong one, or if they were just orange is orange. But to kind of get me where I need to be, I'm going to paint the inside of it with Tamiya orange. And once that's done, the way these LEDs are usually made, you have a viewing range. So they'll sometimes give it to you in degrees. So how many degrees of of light it shows. Sometimes it'll be 170, sometimes it'll be 90. This one tends to be like straight on. If you're looking dead down on it, you get a really good orange. Being that this one is frosted, acts more like a light bulb, so it diffuses the light a little better. So I think I'm going to use this one. Hopefully there'll be enough light to shine through the paint, and the diameter of the LED fits snugly over the diameter of that. And if I really just wanted to do it like that, I could, and it would look great. But it doesn't match what we see on the series. So we're just going to paint this orange and see, and then try the light again to see how good it looks. And if it doesn't, we'll figure something out. Maybe use 2 or 3 smaller LEDs, or maybe have to order a brighter LED in this 10 millimeter size. But again, we'll figure that out. Okay. Now that I've got this all painted, I'm gonna have to let it dry. I think it looks good. It looks good. I'm still kind of disappointed because it has a little bit too much of a glossiness to it. And what you see on screen, there's like no glossiness. I mean, it was just orange injected plastic that they used, the plastic cover. But again, this goes back to that argument that I always have with myself. Am I trying to get the look and the feel, or am I trying to get the look and the feel, or am I trying to match it exactly? No one's going to care that it's not frosted. That's just me. So, but so far, it looks good. And I'm going to say that I originally pulled out the white to paint it white on the inside. And it did work, but you could still see the white underneath the orange. And I wanted it to just be orange through and through. So I completely forgot that I had orange. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me to just go ahead and originally paint it orange. But it is what it is. We're going to let that dry. We're going to try the light test again. Okay. It's always a wise idea to test your electronics before you install them. And I almost made that mistake because I've already got my switch mounted inside, and it wasn't easy. And so my thought was, get your light, put a long lean on it, get your switch, put your a long lead on it. Have your battery, put a long lead on it. And that way, it's probably overkill, but everything is hooked up, so you've got your positive and negative to your battery. You've got your anode and cathode, which is basically positive and negative to the LED. And you have the switch in between. I have the switch on the negative side, so the power goes from the negative to the switch and then through the switch to the LED. If I've got it all hooked up properly, when I hit the switch, the light should come on. Yay! Okay, so now all I have to do is just take all this and put it inside there. And pretty much I'm done. I've just got this, the timer knob, and put the cover on, and we're finished. Maybe spray coat of clear, semi-gloss clear, but other than that, we're good to go. So let's keep moving. That's awesome. This makes me happy. Now, here's the thing. That's 3D printed. I can see splurging and replacing that with an actual chrome one. That's not a big deal. But I don't know. Just having this as part of my collection, I'm really happy. That's awesome. That's awesome. But you know what? What's the point of having a Solenite charge if you don't test it? So let's run a couple of tests. So guess we're going to call that good. We're going to call that good. I have nothing else to say. I am just very happy. Look this up on 3D Thingiverse. 3D print yourself one. Make yourself a Solenite charge. Put some electronic. And the circuit was very, very simple. Battery, switch, light. Nothing fancy. Just put some tape on. I thought I was going to have to fill it with foam so you didn't get a rattle of the wires or anything in there. But they're stuffed in there pretty good. And it has a decent weight to it. I can imagine it, a Solenite charge actually weighing about like this much. So this adds to the collection. Now, this is all give me the clarity of mind and inspiration to go build something. Now it's your turn. We'll see you next time, fellow builders. Pew 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 pew.